My name is Aram. Welcome back to Godsfall. Godsfall is a custom fantasy story told through the lens of a Dungeons & Dragons game that is played and recorded in Washington, D.C. and written and produced in Chicago.
Hi, my name is Steven. I'm playing the 5th level Dwarf Paladin, Torrvic Wildtongue.
My name is Doug, and I'm playing Dorro Knott, 5th level Halfling Rogue.
Hi, my name is Michael. I'm playing Xion Praeten, the 5th level Human Sorcerer.
Hi, my name is Kelly, and I'm playing Rina Falaval, a 5th level Wild Elf Ranger.
Last week on Godsfall.
The players found themselves within a cavernous level of the Union that shifted into the astral realm soon after they entered. As they floated up through the pink and purple miasma, a portal opened and a floating sphere covered in thick scales and sporting a massive eye above its jagged maw descended towards them.
Beholder! The thing, turns its eyes towards you. The maw opens with these glistening fangs, and all the eye stalks kind of turn, and you guys feel energy. This thing is pulsating magical energy, and it begins to descend. He turns his eye, his main giant eye, towards you, and nothing happens. And for a split second, you see fear in this creature's eyes.
Rina's luck divinity was in full force as she drilled the creature with one powerful, well-placed arrow strike after another.
With this anger and fear like you haven't seen from her, and this seriousness in her, boom, boom, dead fucking on. One goes right into the eye, one goes right to the right of the eye, and the thing jerks twice, and then slumps.
Wow. Yeah. And I go, I expect you to trust me. Yay!
Wow.
That's just what it all.
The Beholder was dead, but the Union had one more fight lined up for our players.
As the swirling mass of pink and purple fog fades from sight, you are met by the punishing rays of a bright noonday sun and the cheers of thousands. As your eyes adjust to the brightness, you see the following. You stand in the center of a vast stadium surrounded on all sides by sheer sandstone walls that stretch 50 feet to the seating above. A roar of a crowd fills your ears as 4 gates roll open all around you. To the north, Cebu steps forth, readying his bow. To the west, Baron LaFleur emerges and raises a rapier. To the south, Zion's brother Madaret strides in, wielding a staff of the Anti-Theots. And to the east, Tiago Reese enters, drawing a pair of short swords. A trumpet blares, and they charge forward.
It's like a Coliseum! Yes! Everyone's
Cheering for someone. I just assume they're cheering for me.
yeah! LaFleur!
Like that, and I grab Para hard
Yeah.
and use inspiration and put us at LaFleur.
As soon as you reach out to the bridge, there's nothing. You can't
I
teleport.
can't go over there?
You can't teleport.
Despite not having access to their divinity or their magic, the players were able to best their nemesis doppelgangers and found themselves in yet another towering chamber.
Roar of the crowd explodes, and there is a bright light. The sun kind of explodes and blinds all of you, and you cover your eyes, right? And you awaken in another chamber, a very, very tall chamber that then arcs to the side and kind of rolls back up somehow. Like it goes much higher than the other one, just one straight shot, and then rolls off to the right as the tower expands off to the side.
Outward.
Outward, correct.
Using Dorro's divinity to teleport the party nearly to the top and Zion's force to carry them the rest of the way, the players found themselves at the entrance to the massive platform near the top of the Union and were greeted by the God King.
An open massive doorway appears before you. Light kind of comes in. As your eyes adjust, you can see a platform, that same stone pillar, and the Godking resting upon it. Hoarsely coughs and then whispers, "You should not have come."
What are you talking about? We've come so far. What do you mean not come?
As long as you are here. And he waves a hand to the left, and a square table just forms out of the ground in front of him, and also like benches form on either and on all four sides around it. Have a seat. And food begins appearing. Wine, water, turkey, cheeses. Crackers, grapes, everything. No.
I'm a beeline straight for it.
It's great. Everything
Sit down
is
and start eating.
great. And also you guys realize how long it's been since you've just sat down and eaten. Like it
Yay.
seems like forever. And it is nourishing and lovely
And
as
you all turn to liches.
as the silent world storm continues to rage around you.
The players joined the God King for one last meal as Xion pressured him for answers about the Union.
What happened to your artifacts?
I do not know, but... And he waves a hand towards where you guys came. And the world storm kind of transforms into like a view of something else. He's kind of showing you a view within a view, almost if there was for our eyes, a television screen projected in front of you. And he's showing you the north. He's showing you all the areas and little pinpoints of light. A couple in Wessel, a couple in Brennus, one in Ani, several in Kadar, up here. He's like, there.
So, what do you believe the purpose of this place even is?
What does this tower do with the energy it's taking?
The world storm is not a barrier. It is not a form of destruction. And he kind of reaches towards the other side of the wall, and the whole world storm goes kind of transparent for a second, and you can see a woman, gigantic, hundreds of feet tall, her features distorted as she rages against the wall, snapping and clawing and biting in this incessant attack against nothing. And then he waves it off, and he turns to you and he says, "It is a prison for the last living god."
What last living god?
The god of chaos.
Walks amongst us
It was
here?
Zavon's last move to thwart her, to keep her from complete victory. He imprisoned her within this wall using these towers' energies, but they continue to erode and they continue to absorb. And soon, even that will not hold her.
Throughout this whole tower, it's looked as though it was built specifically for us.
The tower adapts. It changes for whoever enters it.
So is there no escape for us either?
The world storm walks as a barrier. It shields all magic. It contains all within it. I can buy you a moment.
But what about you? You have to come back with us to Ani.
There is no going back for me. I have been here too long. I can buy you a moment, and that is all.
We simply can't leave you here.
I've seen what happens if you stay.
Then you simply can't leave. I will be consumed by this action. I will not wither and die. I will simply be nothing.
In our visions, we have seen you degrade and become, well, essentially a Lich King,
I have
leading an
seen-
army of zombies.
I have seen those visions as well. Every night in my dreams. If I make this sacrifice, they shall not come true.
Rina, want to jump in here? At
Well, Cyrina's kind of quiet, and she's been listening the entire time. I mean, she's had a difficult time in this. She expected to come along. She's been on journeys before. She had this whole crew where she's been on adventures, and she's gone adventuring. But this is way, way past anything she was expecting, anything she was prepared to deal with.
Welcome
frankly.
to the club, Cyrina.
Yeah, well, she's not powered. She's just a person, and she's recognizing very quickly that she is a bit in over her head, so she's simply listening.
What is the force that is consuming you? The tower itself or the god of chaos?
The tower. And as he says that, the top of the tower, so you guys are on this platform here, and it kind of wraps around and then continues up into a fine point. Two wings of that, kind of like stone, there's like a burst of air and two blocks, long blocks of stone along either side of this point, fire off to the right and left and are kind of trailing some sort of translucent energy, very, very similar to the force energy you saw before. They fire off to either side just to the edges of the world storm, and you can see this field of energy buckling and shifting as the world storm rushes through it. And the God King turns to you and says, "These are the final stages. It is gathering the last of what it needs, and then she will be free with all the energy she needs to destroy the rest of the world."
What if, now, just spitballing here, what if we all sacrificed our powers in order to strengthen this wall?
Then you will be consumed.
Yes, but then she won't be able to get into the world.
You will be consumed, and that power will be added to hers.
Oh, well, that's not good. So, not that I'm for it.
Wait, I gotta step out of this for a second.
Sure,
This
go
is
ahead.
really confusing.
She
Are you
let-
trying to tell me that the God of Chaos built this thing?
No, the God of
Okay,
Chaos was
But it's feeding her?
the God of Chaos. Barros built this thing.
It seems like it's keeping up the world storm.
Barros built this thing. Barros believed that
but
he
under
was
her
building.
influence.
Barros, yes.
Right.
Barros believed he was building a tower
She's probably the reason why everyone was tricked into
to
making
gain
it to begin
balance.
with.
Correct.
So, but it's keeping her out.
Well,
So
here's
why
what
did she
happened.
build it?
She built this power to basically steal the power of all the. She built this tower to steal the power from all the other gods. But at the last moment, before Zavan was killed, he basically turned it on her. He captured that power. He's able to harness the power of the
turn it into
tower
this world
and
storm.
use it to trap her. However, it's still gaining power, and despite the fact that he was able to trap her, eventually she will gain the power to break herself out, and the world storm will collapse.
Is there anything beyond the world storm?
Okay.
He leans to the right and just both hands and opens up this entire wall before you, and you guys see a patchwork world before you. There is a jungle slammed up against a mountain, and the lines don't make any sense, and there's a desert slammed right up against that, and there's weird, huge walls of like energy that crisscross this world, and when they meet, they form these massive openings in the world that seem to open up into an entirely different world beyond. Chaos has consumed the rest of the world. It is a patchwork of dimensions and places and times. If she wins, that will consume the rest of us.
So, do you believe her to be the only surviving god from the old times?
There is but one.
How are we supposed to stop something that can do that?
You have 1 year. You have until the next cycle, and the world storm falls forever.
How does the world storm fall once every year? Why did it fall?
He does not know.
Would he be able to fend it off more if he had his artifacts, if we gave him his artifacts somehow?
Of course, absolutely. But he'll never make it, because the
has to
longer that
stay
he's
here.
here, the more it'll sup at his energy. And at some point, he'll turn into this lich god king. And if that happens, everyone's fucked. He basically becomes her first general and leads the army into,
Why were you chosen by Zavan to fill his shoes?
Frankly, he's never known that. He never understood, and the moment was so quick. I mean, Zavan had a lot to do in that second. He made a new god, he created the world. I mean, a lot was going on as Zavan was dying, right? He doesn't know why Zavan picked him. He has no idea.
Because
he
although-
questioned that his whole life.
All of the legends say that you were a simple farmer, but you had quite a few magical items, almost artifact level, that supposedly you had before
Well-
the time you were a god king.
Well, no, I mean, there was a couple things that he had access to. They weren't artifact level. Those were like plus ones.
well,
I mean, when he says
That
simple...
Oblivion gem was pretty good.
Look, it says simple farmer, but yes, he was an adventurer before he was a simple farmer in his retired years. He was a fighter of some renown back in the age, but he was never what he would consider special. He did collect some magical items. People did back then. They were more common than they are now, obviously. Obviously. So he was a hero of sorts, and in a small way in a localized area. But he never expected to be picked as a god king.
how well does this storm that you're using to show us images work? I mean, for instance, could you even see Gal Hadir if you wanted?
Yeah, absolutely. Nice little close-up of Gal Hadir right there. Yeah. Yeah.
What about Ani?
And you're above the island of Ani.
So,
What about that girl I met in the place the one time and we had relations? What's her name?
Betagrit?
Yes.
Yes.
Betagrit. Oh,
Right,
why do
so-
you guys remember? I can't.
His eyes move to you, and you feel him pierce your soul for a second, and you kind of like gasp because it's an odd feeling, like someone walked over your grave, right? And all of a sudden, vroom, 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 we're above the spear, and then we are inside to a bedchamber. And Betagrit is there, and she is mopping her brow, and she seems a little fevered, and she runs to the bathroom to throw up. And then we've come back.
Oh shit.
you rolled a natural 20.
Oh no.
Anything else you want to know, Torrvic?
So I assume you've seen.
Grab the nearest flask of whatever I just. Oh no.
So I assume you've seen what's happening in Ani in your absence, if you're
I
able
have.
to see all of this.
I mean, he's a little more. He understands. Yes, Ani's bad, you know, and he actually zooms into on Ani and shows you from above and shows you Phryne. And Phryne has her hands underneath the well, and you can see her. Whatever she's doing is clearly causing the tear of Sito to glow brighter, and as it does, those tendrils get sucked into the whirlpool of water, and you pull out as you see these little sparkling bits flow across the walls, flow into people's homes, flow into their glasses, into their wells, into their livestock, and everything just has this slight little tingle and glow, and everything seems perfectly happy.
Could you show us other emerging gods?
Yes. Yes. Yes, he can. Hang on.
Can we see the cactus?
So there's one
Cactus guy.
There's
Hang
one
on.
that we've been calling Goldilocks Grabby Hands.
Okay,
we don't know
hang
his
on,
actual
hang on,
name.
hang
Oh
on. hang on.
no! Well,
Hang
actually,
on.
I think it's time for him to have a name.
Well, while we're here, I don't know if we're going to get another chance to do this. So
That's fair. Okay.
Let's get all
All
of
right.
those.
It's time to data mine.
I can only show you people you or I have a connection with. However, and as the God King trails off, he waves his hand over the world storm's edge, and a map appears displaying the 5 kingdoms. As you watch, 24 points of blue light appear, spread out over every continent. I can show you where the others were first awoken. The God King gestures towards a point of light in the sandhills of southern Wessel, and you are shown a female orc standing naked atop a pile of bodies. Her skin is bare and coated with a thick layer of ash, and her arms are drenched green with orc blood. She lifts a hand to signal the 100 warriors gathered around her, and they respond by raising a knife and slitting their own throats in unison, their gray-skinned bodies writhing in a circle like one long, bloody eel. For a moment there is silence, and then a terrible grating moan as the fresh corpses rise, their eyes aglow and their throats howling with an inhuman rattle.
Oh, wait. Now we've seen orcs.
Yes, you have seen orcs. Those are definitely orcs.
What is
No,
that?
We saw them when we were fighting them.
Yeah,
earlier.
those are definitely orcs. You saw orcs before. You were just
Yeah.
fighting them a little while ago.
Yeah.
remember in the
But those were imaginary magic orcs. These are orcs.
They look exactly
from-
the same.
But we've
No,
everyone
because
knows
most
that
people
orcs
don't know
exist.
those orcs are down there. Remember? You said nobody knows about these orcs in this
No,
wilderness.
everyone knows about the orcs.
They don't
no
know
one
about
knows
the
about the Gyudari.
Is that not what that was?
No,
No.
the Gyudari are a whole different race.
Oh.
Yeah, so they know where the orcs are. The orcs, but the
thought they were
orcs,
the same thing.
the orcs used to be much farther north, and they plagued Wessel all of the time. They raided their farming villages and communities. When Kadar invaded, the one thing they did do was drive those orcs all the way south, almost drove them to extinction. Many people in Wessel remember that as a good thing, especially the people in the south. That's why there's still a lot of Kadar loyalists in the south.
Jacob selects another point above Rizon. You are shown the capital city of Capania, a city so rich that many of the buildings are literally covered in gold leaf. The sun hangs low in the east and the metallic city sparkles with a crimson glow. Your view skims along the crowded rooftops until the city opens into a wide, bustling market that explodes with color. Each stall is intricately decorated, covered in bright murals and layers of rich fabrics and semi-precious stones. Even the food vendors sport lavish carpeted lounges with mounds of silk pillows for patrons to lounge while they eat. At the edge of the market, an old blind dwarf sits on a wooden bench carved and painted to give the appearance of a great sea snake arcing out and back into an unseen lake. A small worn carpet of deep indigo sits before her with a dozen bone figures, each just a few inches tall, laid upon it. She is carving another piece, her milky white eyes staring straight ahead as her nimble fingers expertly chip away at the bone with a blade barely larger than a fingernail. As she works, the purple and pink miasma of the astral realm seems to flow out from her, curling up and around until she is engulfed in a multicolored fog that only she seems to notice as a smile crosses her cracked lips. The God King selects a point to the north in the heart of the Kadarian Shatterland, a desolate waste made lifeless by the gods of Four as he raged against Zavan and his lover Mordecai. In the heart of this blasted desert is a single elf, his skin paler than bleached driftwood and his eyes a vibrant lavender. A dusty rose cloak hangs from his narrow shoulders and his long silver hair is held firmly in a topknot tied with a thick emerald twine. The elf stands on a vast salt flat known as the Glass Sea that stretches for miles in all directions. A watery brine lies beneath the blinding white crust, reflecting the sky above like a titanic mirror and creating the illusion as if he strides among the stars. As he walks, he sheds his cloak and then his pants and shirt until his skin glows blue under the full moon's light. Another gesture from the God King centers your view directly above the massive ridge of the coal spine. A river flows from the sand hills and cuts a narrow path through the Onyx Mountains to the south. It winds back and forth for hundreds of miles until tumbling several hundred feet straight down and crashing into a pristine pool surrounded on all sides by towering ironwood. A guttural howl tears above the waterfall's pounding din as a humanoid, taller and wider than an orc, explodes through the cascade, its thick black fur glistening as it soars gracefully into the air. A wooden mask painted brightly to resemble the head and maw of a silver dragon covers its massive shoulders as strips of ivory leather bound to its wrists and ankles beat against the wind.
There's the symbol of Ova, and then you just glow, basically. He doesn't even have to show you, you just simply glow with this kind of white, sparkly light. There is the symbol of Wudea, and you see him kind of vom, 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 and you see the top of Rizon, and then it zooms into the toe of the Torah Horde. In the middle of the desert is a cactus that's also a person, just sitting lotus style, hands around him with all these flowers and trees, every single bud you could possibly imagine.
Him, her, it, they, we.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, sexuality seems nebulous. I mean, purpose, and then just exploding with every single flower and every single plant you've ever imagined.
Nito!
The God King stands and draws both hands across the storm to show the temples of the elements in Utea, each as wide and massive as the Union itself. Your view follows the shadows these monoliths cast east as the sun-baked red clay gives way to a fertile crescent valley. Further east, rocky cliffs drop half a mile to meet the storm sea on a wide, sandy beach. The people who live here are tall, bronze, and covered in tattoos of thick lines that cross all over their bodies. Many have more of their skin inked than not. The only place where none are marked is on their hands and feet, as the people of this tribe believe the spirit enters the body through the hands and leaves through the souls. Their tattoos form an intricate maze designed to confuse the spirits and trick them into traveling through their entire body, sharing more of their divine energy as they pass. One man, standing nearly 7 feet tall with a flowing head of straight black hair and a spear nearly twice the length of his body, stands at the sea's edge as the waters rise and part to greet him.
You see the symbol of dreams, and we're back in the tower. And what's her name, David?
Caitlin, but she shouldn't be in the tower. She should be in the Spear of Jardin.
That's the tower.
Oh,
so
okay,
yeah,
okay.
sorry, she's in the Spear of. It's a long tower. It's the Spear of
I
Jardin.
was making sure you weren't putting her in the Union.
No.
I've been here the whole time. I've been following you.
All of this has just been a dream. You've never even started your climb. So she's playing with dice or something, like some child's toy, sitting on a floor. There's like a little bed beat next to her. You see the symbol of peace, and you see another orc. This time from the other clan, Flat Rock, a little bit to the east, and he is seemingly praying, just on a large open flat rock in the middle of the desert. You see the symbol of sport and Gaidir, and you see the hooded male human you fought earlier. He is currently on a boat sailing towards Ani. You see the god of speed, and then you see Automil back in the Ironwood. He is ordering several people around. There's a tightening of guards around him. He is simply going through the forest and seems to be very, very active in its defense right now. And then, boom, you guys are back where you are.
Show us a 4.
And he opens up, and fire just surrounds you in a huge ring. Every part of the world storm becomes fire, and Para's eyes light up with a black crackling fire, and a black crackling fire lights up behind him that seems to just eat light, and then it's gone.
Show us your tar.
He cannot.
Cannot.
That's what he can show you.
So there are limitations.
Well, they, at least seemingly, unless they're all dead, that's what he can show you. Or they haven't emerged yet.
So that answers that question.
No.
Can you see into my mind? I don't know what you can do.
No. I cannot read your mind.
Okay. Well, I love giving you drawings.
That worked well last time.
Have you had any visions of me giving you a drawing and something terrible happening again?
No.
Okay. So
Cover all the bases.
No, that's fair.
here, Dorro. Draw Goldilocks grabby hands.
Oh, he can show you him. I'm sorry.
Okay.
You are above Port Bliss, and you are zooming down. You know exactly where you are towards the southern docks. And
I tell them.
yeah, there he is, basically in a large open room, very similar to the one before him. There's a giant golden fist before him with impressions on the back, and he is walking around it, kind of gliding his fingers across it. There are 4 holes on the back of the fist. 2 of them are filled.
Son of a bitch.
And I take out the sphere of O gun and say, ah! And put it back away.
All right. That's a nothing, but fair enough.
Yeah, I know. I don't
Is
care.
there any sound? Can we hear?
No, you can just see visions, and then it's short and flickering.
Oh,
Yeah.
do you
Did I
know
glow?
what that is? As I point to the golden fist, what that's for?
That
What
is
they're
one-
doing?
That is one of the fists of Bados.
One?
There are two.
Do you know what the other one is?
I do. And he waves a hand, and you kind of like, as you're going south in Wessel, there's this vast desert, and you hit the coal spine, those giant mountains, right? But tucked in between those mountains, at the very south, is a crag, and that crag winds back and back and back and back and back into the mountains, following a river that is not on any map that any of you have ever seen. And so it opens up into this lush green tropical area, and it is filled with Gyudari. Everywhere, hundreds of them, and in the center of them is a second golden fist, seemingly worshipped as an idol.
Any
fuck is
gems in the
that?
fist?
Yo,
No,
what are
empty
those?
as
What are those things?
Bados built these in order to bring order to the rest of the gods.
No, were they talking about the Gyodari?
Oh,
those
yeah,
are
the creature
the
things.
Gyudari. These are the Gyudari. The gods hyper-evolved them, much as they hyper-evolved man. The Gyudari took a different path.
No kidding. They like eat each other and shit.
No, whoa. There's no cannibalism. No, there is a tribal culture, but there's clearly no cannibalism of any kind.
What do they look like?
Big apes,
Monkey
like
apes,
ape
okay.
people,
Monkey
like
apes.
giant ape people, and they're strapped with bamboo and a lot of face paint and very, very tribal, but like giant ape people, maybe 9-10
So
feet tall
they're
each.
like humanoid, just
Humanoid, just gigantic
Apes.
and covered in fur.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do any of them wield swords?
No, mainly everything's blunt.
I'll never have my sword wielding monkey.
No, you won't. Teach one.
I'll turn it into a celebrity
Wait, but-
monkey for you. We can dance and make money.
Like he asked, are there any stones in their fist? Is there?
No, none. Oh, there's 4 empty blank spots on the back.
Does that mean that there are 8 gems?
Must be.
So then we only know about the set from the fist we've encountered.
So they only know
Correct.
that there's 4.
Jesus, there might be 4 other gems that do
Well, there
crazy
definitely
shit
are.
like this stuff.
Well, we've already seen, we have 3? We have 3.
We have 2.
You have
We have
3.
2.
Yeah, we
Yes.
have the.
You keep forgetting
Slippy
Torrvic's
slide.
got one. He's got the Fang of Ova.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh, it's 5 for
We
each
have
fist,
that,
right?
and we have the
No,
one
it's
that,
4 for each
that
fish.
turns everything into garnet.
I thought you said he had 2.
He has 2 in the 4. So 2 of the holes are filled. The hole that had the Eye of Saw is empty, and then there's one other hole.
But we have the garnet, the one
Correct.
that turns everything into garnet.
Correct.
So there are 5.
So there's 5 indentations on this fist.
No, there
4.
are 4
There's
on
4.
each. Okay? He's
Yeah.
got 2. We have 3, and there are 3 others. Okay?
There are 4 holes
Yeah.
total. Yes. There are 8. Sorry, there are 8 holes total. 5 you've accounted for so far.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
And maybe 6 if the Tear of Cedo is one of them. I don't know.
Correct. Which would be a pretty fair guess, considering
Right.
how
Can we ask him?
powerful it is.
Right.
Yeah.
We could ask him if he knows if that's it.
Yes. Yes, it is. Yeah. Yeah, he
what
does.
there we
Good.
go.
Yeah. Good. He's just
like, wait, we got the
listening, and
information
he's
broker,
like,
guys, we
I
gotta ask."
actually know this.
I actually do know this.
What are the
Tear-
other indentations then? We have the Eye of Saw. We have
Those are the ones he
the
knows
Sphere
of.
of
He
Ogun.
doesn't know of any others,
Okay.
personally.
And he couldn't feel a strong presence.
He can't really sense where these things are, no.
He could figure out where his artifacts is.
They were directly connected to him. They were part of his body for 100 years.
All right, well, describe to us where your artifacts are, because if you can't come with us, then we have to bring Cyrena into full power with them.
Right. So he opens his hands again and moves towards the world storm facing the 5 kingdoms. And the colors shift from like this amber yellowish color that they were to a pale blue. And you start seeing other little pinpoints of light, this time little green spots of light popping up all over the 5 kingdoms. And you see several in Wessel as well, one incredibly close by. This marks the locations my artifacts have landed. I shall give you a map. And he opens his hands and a map appears on it. It has all the locations of the artifacts as well as all the locations he showed you where the other arisen godlings were first found. Not where they are now, but where their powers first manifested, including you guys as well.
Several times we've been encountering visions and statues of this thing holding a ring.
Yes.
At some point we saw people dumping sand into it and
Yes.
everything got sucked into it. Would you care to explain what this is and why it seems to be following us around?
It's the final challenge of Barros' tower. Those who survive the ascent would meet the ring and grasp it at once, and the ring would decide finally who was worthy.
Oh, so
Of what?
Of survival.
so if you didn't pass the demigod test, you die.
Yeah, it was a demigod test.
Does that mean we have to take the test?
The ring is long gone.
Oh, that's comforting.
Yeah, that should not
Someone
be
might have-
comforting at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a fair assumption that all 4 of those people you saw were demigods.
But
Yeah.
I only know. I mean, I don't remember.
So that Seeker Stone wouldn't have worked very well for her. That can't be the same person because she would make it glow herself.
Yeah.
Well, but a god would make it grow brighter,
Yeah.
and that's what would shock her. So there's always a, there's always a level of
Oh,
brightness.
maybe that's
yeah.
why she failed, was because even if she was reacting,
may not have
at a
failed.
low level. Oh, I'm
Yeah.
assuming she had failed.
They poured some time sand onto it.
You've
But then they all
seen
got sucked into it.
who, assuming now if this
Maybe they traveled in time for
right,
that.
if they did this event after they were seen, it could have failed. If they did this event before they were seen and then they appeared where they are and then you saw them,
Yeah.
it succeeded. But you have no way of knowing what events followed what.
Can we ask them if we can pinpoint where they are right now?
He cannot.
In their cloth, in their what type of cloth was it?
Yes, that's going way fucking back, but yes, there was a piece of cloth, and only Phryne knows about it, and there's nothing you can do.
That's
yes,
true. Well, damn it.
That is going back to episode
Can you
3,
access
by
the
the way.
memories of Phryne to it?
He cannot.
Shit! What good are you?
He's answered a lot of questions
How
so
many
far.
lightning bolts do you have left that you can throw from here, Zeus?
None, because I don't have my ship.
Fired!
Worst god ever.
Why
Why are we chosen as the gods?
That he has no idea. He has no more idea than why you were chosen than why he was chosen.
I kept seeing this wolf for a while. Do you know what that was or who that was?
Well, the god of beasts would frequently be seen as a giant white wolf. You're very likely seeing an avatar of Ova.
Oh yeah, I used to see Tyr.
Explain to us about these avatars. How many of these?
Used to.
I haven't seen him in a while.
He's always here. And he waves a hand, and Tyr appears behind you. I am always with you, Dorro. Always.
Yeah. Anyway.
We shall meet again.
Yeah,
and again,
okay, right.
and again.
You all see him, right?
Do we see him?
No, only
you
Dorro
talking
sees him.
Just go away. They can't see you.
I shall see you again. soon.
All right.
How many of these avatars do we think are still roaming the earth?
Well, +1.
There are many. They come in different forms. You know one. Your
The pretty
oinkers.
wolf that always goes around my vision.
No. Your oinkers, yes.
What?
Ova had many shards of herself that she scattered into the world before she passed. Oinkers is a piece of that god.
Did we know oinkers could polymorph?
No, you don't know oinkers can polymorph.
Because you cut that out.
I did, yeah. So that doesn't exist yet, yeah.
Yes.
No.
Okay, all right.
Nor does any of this.
What? Oinkers has powers?
What are you talking about, oinkers? She's a pig.
Her form is a pig. She can choose whichever form she wishes.
What? Where's your pig?
We left it back at the spear for
So
safety.
it's safe. You want to bring oinkers around.
I left
yeah.
her with the now pregnant chick.
Also, Hellscape Nightmare Chick.
Jesus.
Oinkers is just having nightmares with his little feet, like, ah!
She wouldn't. Would she be that mean? Would she do that to
No,
oinkers?
I would no. No one would ever harm oinkers. Everyone, even like
I could
Barros
see, like-
would
Yeah.
be like, "Oh, little pig, come here, little pig."
Goldilocks grabbed me.
Yeah.
He would like go to grab him, and then it would.
Oh, you'll be safe.
I will hold you tight.
Look how cute you are in my giant golden hands. Oh, you are so cute.
If this whole tower is a test.
Well, it was designed as a test, but it's actually a battery.
Right.
Yeah.
So how do we know that you're?
So have we been powering this battery?
Yes.
yes.
The
Of course we
entire
have. We've
time.
been turning it on.
Especially when you two were absorbed by it. Yeah.
Twice.
Yeah.
Well, that might buy us some time, keeping the evil thing out.
How do we
Is she
know?
getting your
No,
death?
that's not good.
No,
The
that
stronger
fed
that
her.
thing gets, the faster she breaks out. Because once it hits a certain charge, she actually breaks out. There was only so much Zavon could do. Zavon basically bought you 100 years, and that's it. Yeah.
And then he was like, have somebody else go buy 100 more years.
Well, he didn't know. He built it and died. I mean, he had no idea how successful he was. You know.
Right.
I mean, we've only got one choice.
You really do only have one choice.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think about this is the last chance I'll get to ask any questions. So.
Exactly. Yeah. And there's, and you all are eating and kind of quietly right now, like everyone's
Is Sarita
quietly
kinda
chewing
crying because
food.
of Godking
Yeah,
thing?
you see, I mean, at some point, Sarita's been very composed. She's right to the side. You know, her grandfather's at the head of the table.
They should have like a quiet moment, you know.
At some point during it, she kind of just reaches a hand out to the left and clasps it around her grandfather's hand, and you see his hand, very large, gnarled hand, close around hers, and they have a very quiet moment between them, and then it's over. And that was it.
Dignified goodbye.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is there anything you can tell us about breaking into your city without anyone knowing? That maybe no one else knows? Like you've got a royal secret access tunnel to at least the docks we can use, or?
Yes.
Nice
Yes,
one.
I do.
Figured there would be.
And he kind of opens up a screen, and you kind of roll behind Ani with that large mountain directly behind the palace. And as it rolls back, you see tide go out. And as it goes out for about 20 minutes, the cave is exposed. And as the view kind of rolls into that cave, you see it rolls into like a hidden compartment that normally would be filled with water that leads to a tunnel that rolls back and back and back, and then into the back of the castle, into some storage room that you've never seen before.
Nice.
How many people know about this?
Yeah, how many people have you told?
That I know?
Your-
Well,
your holiness.
he knew. He knew, Captain of the Guard knew,
Yeah.
probably a couple other people.
That's
But-
all right.
Friday knows.
But that means she's expecting for us to wait for low tide when all we have to do is use you.
Oh, that's a good point, yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
And you
please,
have someone that
bitches.
can turn-
It's not like I haven't broken into places.
And
Come
you
on
have someone
now.
that can turn into any nautical creature, you know.
It's true.
You can just put us in your whale mouth.
Torrvic
Yeah.
dolphin.
Just
Torrvic dolphin.
Pinocchio this bitch right into her city.
I can't wait till Torrvic can be like a blue whale. Just
Resting
Yes.
majestically.
We get those awesome whale sounds going on the
Yeah,
podcast.
just like-
Yes, we'll be putting people to sleep in their car.
just
Like,
this
"Oh."
giant bearded whale that crests over the water and crashes down.
Nice.
That'll be
Neato.
amazing.
Very cool.
Anything else you want to ask the God King before he sacrifices himself for one final moment?
What can you tell us about the tier of Cedo? How did it get there? How does it work?
He doesn't know how the tier of
If I
Cedar got
just
there.
grab it, what's gonna happen?
Then the water will end to all of Ani, and the city will die.
Which we don't want.
No.
Why not?
Well, I mean,
Not in front of the king.
There's lots of innocent people in Ani. I mean, Ani may be filled with a bunch of dicks, but there's also a lot of people scraping by. You guys saw alone on the outskirts of Ani. There's what we would call middle-class people barely clinging on to an existence. There's a lot of good, hard-working people in Ani.
Have you had any visions of our future?
No.
What have you been doing while you've been up here?
I mean, he's been literally figuring out his interface with the thing. He's been watching you all. He's
So,
been
just to reiterate, you know nothing about this comet at all.
nothing.
So we actually know more than you do.
Yeah,
If
about
you'd like
that.
to know in your last minutes.
I mean, if he knew anything, the fucking thing killed him. So if
Right,
he knew
right.
anything, it'd be, or almost killed him.
Say a god
Yeah.
may or may not have impregnated a mortal.
Yes.
What would happen?
That being would be a demigod.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Well, I seriously can't think of anything else to ask. Anybody else?
All right.
Yeah.
Anything? Then he steps up the
Now,
table.
you better not be like, oh, you should ask the God King. Oh, God.
There's lots of shit about
He does
Oh,
that
no,
every
wait.
time.
table lowers down.
Wait, I'm not done.
you grab like
I'm starting
you're like
grabbing
grabbing
things, like,
food off it at the
putting
very
it,
end.
like,
You're like
in every pocket I can.
Yep. vanishes into the floor, the food vanishes, everything vanishes, and the God King strides forth towards the northern wall.
Your sacrifice will not be in vain.
Boom! It opens his hands, and you just see the whole thing part, and you can finally hear it as well. The deafening roar of the world storm encompasses all of you, and the wind grips at you, and the energy of it grips at you. And he turns, and he was like, "If you want to leave, now is the time!"
We clasp our hands and focus our divinities on Dorro.
Everyone roll.
Who's in the middle?
Rina would be in the middle because she's unpowered, and then you're right in front of her.
Then I jump up on her shoulders.
Okay. Everyone roll Constitution. Wait, what? Wisdom, I'm sorry.
16.
Ooh, Para got a 19.
13.
Wait, I'm gonna use lucky.
Yes. Yes, good call. You've got to be kidding me. Holy shit. This is a perfect example of your luck power. So, enough rolls were made. You instantly feel this. The bridge has never been stronger, it's never been wider, it's never been more firmly connected. You have a clear path to bring every single person home.
And right before I do it, I go, watch this.
You will vanish from where you are, and you reappear in a storeroom in the Spear of Jarden. And we're going to stop. Actually, as you appear, there's a squeal, and a pig who has been standing guard every moment that you have been gone launches herself into the air, tackles your ass, and brings Torrvic to the ground.
Oh my god! We have so much to talk about. Oh my god! A dwarf just rolling around with a pig.
And we're going to stop right there.
Thank you for joining us for the first episode of the second half of Season 2. We've got a lot in store for you in the upcoming weeks, and I have a bunch of stuff to update y'all on. First, we have both a printer and supplier for the Godsfall Worldbook, both of whom are based here in Chicago. Kraken Print is handling all our books, maps, and character sheets, and Black Box, the shipping and fulfillment company founded by Cards Against Humanity, is getting them to your front door. We are confident that these partners will ensure that the Godsfall Worldbook is both top quality and can be shipped safely and securely worldwide. For more updates on this and the podcast in general, follow us on Twitter at GodsfallDC. We've been getting a lot of word questions since I moved to Chicago about the future of Godsfall, but do not worry. In order to keep the game and the show continuing as normal, I'll be flying back to Washington, D.C. once a month and recording 3 to 4 episodes worth of the game each trip. If you'd like to help us make sure that remains a financially viable option, we've got a few ways you can do that. We have a Patreon account for monthly donors at patreon.com/godsfall, or you can pick up one of our t-shirts at godsfall.spreadshirt.com. Anything you can donate would be hugely appreciated. Additionally, I'll be looking for people in Chicago for one-off games and to guest star as NPCs for side stories in the upcoming seasons. If you are in the area and want to play a game with me, hit me up at GodsfallDC on Twitter. We also want to take a minute to tell you about our good friends over at BattleBards.com who have been kind enough to send us a catalog of all new sounds. They've added undead minions like zombies and skeleton hordes, and the necromancy spells that summon them. Weather like the roar of a powerful wind and the crash of lightning. Enchantment spells like Hold Person and Transfixion. Even the gruff, barking tone of a dwarf.
Valusht. Brief gadanesh tus mirkanbar.
So if you want your game to sound as good as Godsfall, check out battlebards.com. That's all from us this week. For notes, maps, and more, check us out on godsfall.com.